eventually one of those things is going to come true. And
The Simpsons has predicted everything that's going to be happening in 2025.
Firefighters race to contain wildfires around Los Angeles for a third night.
Consuming vast landscapes and causing widespread devastation.
Okay, so perhaps we will start seeing hologram weddings and metaverse ceremonies in the coming...
For over 30 years, The Simpsons has entertained and baffled fans with its uncanny ability to predict real-world events. As 2025 approaches, let's dive into the show's eeriest predictions, from fully automated factories to a tech-driven future that seems closer than ever.
Comic-Con nerds! You fool! These are robots! You will train them, and they will replace you.
Before now, robots could only replace part of a human job, enough to make coffee or an omelet. But this is Digit, a robot its makers say is ready to do what human warehouse workers do.
So they can lift about 35 pounds, the robot weighs about what a person would weigh, it can reach about the size of what a person can reach. We're really going for that kind of like OSHA regulations and requirements for the robot.
Agility Robotics is funded in part by Amazon, which is investing $1 billion in new industrial technologies. Amazon has already started testing Digit in its Seattle Robotics Research and Development Facility, potentially adding to the company's fleet of more than 750,000 robots. And the company's investors have big ambitions for them.
The fact that it can enter places that were designed for humans and solve those challenges that exist without having to rebuild the environment for automation.
And it doesn't quit.
And it doesn't quit. They're about $250,000, so they're not inexpensive. But, over just a few years,
A 2020 World Economic Forum report projected that 85 million jobs could be automated by 2025, with 97 million new tech roles emerging. The Simpsons' vision of an automated workforce is becoming a startling reality.
According to World Economic Forum, 85 million jobs will be replaced by AI by 2025. And on top of that, PwC, PricewaterhouseCoopers, said an estimated 30% of all jobs will be replaced by AI in mid-30s. Goldman Sachs said 300 million jobs are going to be replaced. But a data came out, which is very crazy, breaking down who does AI hurt the most, men or women? Whites, blacks, Hispanics, Asians. Those with a high school diploma, those with bachelors, those with masters, and then what jobs are going to be replaced, what jobs are going to be protected, and then what new skill sets.
AI doesn't have to be evil to destroy humanity. If AI has a goal and humanity just happens to be in the way, it will destroy humanity as a matter of course, without even thinking about it. No hard feelings. It's just like if we're building a road and an anthill happens to be in the way, we don't hate ants. We're just building a road. And so goodbye anthill.
In one episode, a massive blackout hits Springfield due to an energy crisis. As climate change and rising energy demands strain global power grids, could The Simpsons have foreseen a looming energy collapse in 2025?
Another episode. Springfield faces a widespread blackout caused by an energy crisis. The characters must adapt to a new reality, living with minimal power. Interestingly, this idea isn't so far-fetched. Many analysts warn that with the growing demand for renewable energy and climate change, some regions might face serious challenges in keeping their power grid stable. In places like Texas, USA, massive blackouts have already occurred due to demand spikes and extreme weather events. Could The Simpsons be warning us of something bigger? What would we do if the entire world experienced an energy collapse in 2025? Prediction 3. Instant translation technology. In the episode where Homer visits Japan, they show advanced technologies that facilitate communication. Although the show doesn't directly feature an instant translator, the idea of breaking language barriers with technology is becoming more of a reality. Today, we already have earbuds like Pixel Buds.
What if your next charge was your last? The clock is ticking. British Columbia is on the brink of an energy crisis. With the surge in electric vehicle usage, our power grid is strained like never before. EEs were meant to save the planet, but are they draining our lifeline? BC's clean energy sources are struggling to keep up. Wind, solar, and hydro, they're not enough. Worse still, power consumption is skyrocketing. In just a few years, demand could outstrip supply. Picture this: blackouts, uncharged EVs, and a province in the dark. We need action, and we need it now. Investing in sustainable energy infrastructure isn't just a good idea, it's a necessity. The future of BC hangs in the balance. Will you stand by or will you stand up? The choice is ours, but the time is short. Will BC run out of power? The scary truth is it just...
Homer's trip to Japan featured futuristic translation tech. Today, tools like Google Pixel Buds and translation apps are bridging language barriers. By 2025, near-perfect real-time translation could revolutionize global communication.
Episode where Homer visits Japan. They show advanced technologies that facilitate communication. Although the show doesn't directly feature an instant translator, the idea of breaking language barriers with technology is becoming more of a reality.
Why did we pick this translator? A few reasons. With a click of one button, it can translate 82 different languages, and it claims to translate conversations, not just statements.
I set the languages. I'm setting the input language to English UK and the output language to Spanish Spain.
It has noise-canceling microphones and speakers, so speak in one language and out comes another.
We have a microphone on this side, a speaker, and a microphone on this side, so presumably you can use it like this to talk.
It's smaller than a smartphone, but it still has a touchscreen, and it comes with 2 years of cellular data, so those traveling don't need to worry about an international data plan.
This feels like a very comfortable thing to have in my pocket, very easy to whip out whenever I need it, and it's extremely light actually. I barely feel like I've got a device in my hand at all.
It also has a camera for translating signs and menus. It costs $299, but is it worth it?
Experts predict technology will achieve near-perfect real-time language translation by 2025, transforming communication and travel. Another Simpsons prediction coming true.
We're going to try for a simple, typical tourist interaction. Could I have a coffee with soy milk, please?
¿Podría tomar un café con leche de soja, por favor? Ahora mismo.
Un momentito.
Ahora mismo.
Okay, so the first interaction seemed to go quite well. She didn't seem to react weirdly to me speaking to her through a live translation machine. And when she brought my coffee, she brought soy milk, so that passed the test as well.
I would like you to function as a translator. I have a friend here who only speaks Italian, and I only speak English. And every time you hear English, I want you to translate it to Italian. And if you hear Italian, I want you to translate it back to English. Is that good?
Perfetto.
Mark, io mi chiedo, se le balene potessero parlare, cosa ci direbbero?
Mike, she wonders if whales could talk, what would they tell us?
They might ask, how do we solve linear equations?
Potrebbero chiederci come risolviamo le equazioni.
The Simpsons has often portrayed Springfield facing natural disasters. While exaggerated, these events mirror growing concerns about climate change and its escalating impact on extreme weather patterns.
Simpsons show Springfield dealing with hurricanes, earthquakes, and even apocalyptic events, like in the episode Hurricane Nettie.
Currently, humanity is using the equivalent of 1.75 Earths to provide for itself. This means we're living on one planet but consuming the resources of almost 2 planets. We are exploiting resources like we're never going to run out, but more on that later. Coming back to overpopulation. How many humans can this planet sustain? Well, the planet reached its limit 53 years ago. In 1970, there were 3.7 billion people on the planet, less than half the population of today, and just about enough for the planet to sustain. Ever since then, humans are living on what's called an ecological debt. This means our annual demand of resources is way more than what our planet can naturally provide in a year. This is a loan of sorts, and who will repay it? Our children and grandchildren and their grandchildren. That is, if we leave anything on this planet for them to have.
Rising global temperatures are fueling more frequent and intense natural disasters. Scientists warn 2025 could mark a tipping point, aligning with The Simpsons' unsettling portrayal of environmental crises.
And right now here at noon, tracking Milton. The storm strengthening today. It is now a powerful Category 5 hurricane with Florida in its path.
And residents are preparing with Milton expected to make landfall this week in the Tampa Bay area. Watches and warnings have been issued for much of our state's west coast.
This morning, those whipping Santa Ana winds making a return. In the coming days, wind gusts expected to reach up to 70 miles per hour as the Eaton and Palisades fires broaden their footprint. Officials say the death toll has now reached 24 and still expected to climb. We traveled with CAL FIRE to the top of the now charred Temescal Canyon to see how crews are making critical progress as they battle the blaze.
Southern Iceland was rattled today by hundreds of earthquakes, prompting fears of a major volcanic eruption. Nearly 4,000 people were evacuated over the weekend after the ground shook, roads cracked, and buildings were damaged. Officials said today there's a significant likelihood of an eruption in the coming days.
In a futuristic episode, Lisa contemplates moving to Mars. Today, Elon Musk and SpaceX are making strides toward manned missions to Mars, potentially fulfilling the Simpsons' vision of humanity's expansion into space.
In right now is digital currency. So for example, Bitcoin. Now, Bitcoin completely lives online. It's sort of what makes it cool, but also what makes it potentially dangerous. Okay, so digital currency can be sent or received without involving any financial institution or government agency whatsoever. Okay, so this is basically an online financial network that's completely open. There's no Visa, no PayPal, no regulators, right? So it lives online, trades online, and hides online. So you're probably asking, okay, well, what about those golden Bitcoins we've all seen? So think of those like a gift card, okay? So it's not actual money, it's just a sort of representation of money, only redeemable where Bitcoins are accepted.
Along with digital wallets like Pix and Apple Pay, is transforming how we handle money. In countries like Sweden, the use of physical money is already minimal. Will we be completely cash-free by 2025? Or will we still face challenges with this transition to digital money, such as the inclusion of people without access to technology?
A 1995 episode showed characters using virtual reality headsets. Fast forward to today, and VR, the metaverse, and digital events are becoming everyday experiences, blurring fiction and reality.
Just like the dead clown promised.
Wow, there's Bill Gates, Stephen Hawking, Paul McCartney, Michael Jordan, Michelle Kwan. They must be starting a new civilization on Mars with our best in price.
Mars rotates once about every 24 hours.
That's kind of what we do.
And it's tipped on its axis.
Kind of like what we are.
As we are. It has polar ice caps.
So do we.
Terraforming Mars. Here's why everyone's talking about Mars, and Elon Musk has a plan. He's thinking of putting satellites in orbit that have big reflectors that focus sunlight that would otherwise miss the planet, focus it down on the planet, and just add more energy to the planet, heating it up. And if you do it right, you might be able to set a chain reaction in place. If everything there's frozen and it gets warmer, you'll evaporate more carbon dioxide, and that'll help trap more heat, and then that'll make it hotter to evaporate even more carbon dioxide. You get all of that out of the system and into the atmosphere. Then now it's warm enough, you still need oxygen to breathe.
Right.
So now you put microorganisms that eat the CO2, and they
release oxygen.
They release oxygen. Like plants do that, but on Earth, there's something called cyanobacteria. Right.
Lisa's solar-powered car being sabotaged by corporate interests mirrors real-world challenges. As fossil fuel giants resist the shift to renewables, The Simpsons predicts an intensifying battle for green energy by 2025.
Let's take a look at what working in the metaverse will be like. Imagine if you could be at the office without the commute. You would still have that sense of presence, shared physical space, those chance interactions that make your day all accessible from anywhere. Now imagine that you have your perfect work setup and you can actually do more than you could in your regular work setup. And on top of all that, you can keep wearing your favorite sweatpants.
Looking good. Let's get together real quick for a debrief.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
The show once depicted libraries replaced by tech support centers, hinting at a digital shift. While this dystopian vision isn't fully realized, society's reliance on tech and the decline of traditional libraries are already evident.
Suppression of green energy. In an episode of The Simpsons, Lisa Simpson enters a solar-powered car in a derby, symbolizing the potential and innovation behind renewable energy solutions. However, her project faces deliberate sabotage, reflecting a broader commentary on the real-world challenges that green energy initiatives often encounter due to established fossil fuel interests. The episode effectively illustrates how entrenched business interests, particularly from the fossil fuel industry, can impede the progress of renewable energy technologies. In Lisa's case, her solar-powered car is blocked from receiving sunlight by a strategically placed object, directly sabotaging her efforts in
From automation and climate crises to space exploration and the rise of digital economies, The Simpsons continues to blur the line between satire and prophecy with its uncanny predictions.
Think more about that impact. What does this have to do with your daily lives and libraries? What does it have to do with the competitiveness of the industry? What options that libraries have when they go out to buy software, as they think about whether or not to hold on to their current systems or to move to new ones. It's important to have a good sense of the competitive landscape. So this slide, looking in the academic space, kind of shows academic libraries and their relative market share. So when you go to my website, there's this graph that you can spin out for any state in the U.S., for the country altogether, and some other countries that kind of show the relative market shares. And so here we can see kind of the impact of consolidation. So,
Are The Simpsons' predictions sheer coincidence or sharp social commentary? As 2025 nears, only time will tell how many will come true. What do you think? Share your thoughts below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more updates.
We're not predicting the future, but if we are, clearly there's some.
The evidence is there.
It's booga booga, clearly, yeah.
Well, we take the most unlikely, ridiculous, stupid, impossible, never will happen joke, and then turns out that our imaginations are not that imaginative.
I think that if you have a bunch of people who are smart, who are trying to predict the future, if you throw enough darts hit the dartboard. And most of the things I can just say, Trump actually, for example, was talking about running for president in 1999. He wasn't the most ridiculous celebrity to forecast as a president. And we had a few things like that. And like Lady Gaga, people said, oh, he predicted her Super Bowl show. Well, that's because we copied her show for our show, and then she did that show. So it's sort of like she stole our show that stole her show. That's how it happens.
I guess if you just, every joke you make is, what's the worst possible thing that could happen? Eventually, one of those things is going to come true, and it did.